90-90 external rotation hinges with external rotation to internal rotation hovers and switches. Okay, so essentially it's just a combination of an exercise that we're just putting two exercises into one, but they're back to back. So the first one is going to be what we call the external rotation hinge. Yes, you are getting internal rotation as you're coming back, but the focus on is just trying to rotate our knee out. So again, we're going to get ourselves in this 90-90 position. The outside hand can be wherever you find it to be comfortable. If you find yourself to be too upright and you're trying to turn, you feel too much low back, then just drop your hand, okay? But if we can, let's start out being a little bit more upright, but I'm okay with your upper body being a little bit more in an oblique angle, okay? As long as you're not just shrugging on the shoulder, okay? Try to relax the shoulder by putting it down and back, so you're nice and tall. Now from this position, the closer your knee is to your opposite heel, the easier it is. The further back you are, you're not gonna be able to rotate, okay? So that's not the purpose of this exercise. So let's get motion, let's get range of motion. So try to scoot this back knee closer to the front leg, okay? So it's not a perfect 90-90, which is okay. We're just trying to work on hip mobility at the end of the day, okay? So in this position, you're just gonna rotate the knee out, trying to get the foot flush. You're gonna try to really activate the back hip muscles. You might feel a stretch along the front groin, and we're gonna do the prescribed amount of reps. So on this one, we're just pivoting into external rotation, and that's all we're doing. We're just trying to articulate and really sense and feel what's going on in the hip joint, okay? So you're just, again, you're rotating out, dropping back in. And as you rotate out, try not to just be lazy, really use the hip muscle, use the glute muscle to really drive your knee out. Feel that tension in the outer hip, come back in. So you wanna be intentful with everything you're doing, just like anything else. You're not doing this just to be lazy and just to move your knee out. You're actually trying to feel the muscles engage in your outer hip and rotate back in. If your goal is to get better hip mobility, or your goal is to get better hip and glute awareness or strength or function, well, you need to be intentful and really care about what you're doing, right? It doesn't just happen on its own. So again, we're gonna rotate our knee out, really feeling the hip muscles work, really engage it, pause for a second or two, come back in. So we'll do the prescribed amount of reps, and this is just what we call the external rotation hinge, okay? After the prescribed amount of reps on the first part, we're gonna move on to our floating ER and IR sweeps, external rotation, internal rotation sweeps. So on this time, now you're going to hover, the whole leg is hovering together, and you're going to try to bring your heel to your front heel, pause, and then now you're gonna rotate the knee towards the ground, shin towards the sky. You're gonna get this pivoting motion where your leg is hovering from the ground. And again, we're gonna pivot, hover, pause, try to drive that knee towards the chest. Again, drop the knee, lift the shin, lift the foot, pause. And now we're actually performing the same exercise, but instead of your knee just being on the ground or your foot just on the ground, now you're actually hovering and just rotating and swiveling, okay? So we're swiveling into this motion here, swiveling into the back motion there. And we're going for the prescribed amount of reps, and what you should feel as you're doing this is a lot of tension around the hip joint, okay? If you feel too much low back, drop to your elbow and do the same thing. Knee, heel, knee, heel, okay? That's all we're doing is we're hovering, we're transitioning, moving into those two movements.